What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sports and Stuff. I'm here with my man Riley. What's up, Riley?
What's up, guys? Been a little while.
Yeah, it's been about 3 months since episode 11 was available for download on Spotify and iTunes. We'd like to apologize for that absence, but March and April and May brought some very trying times educationally, occupationally, and some very exciting times personally and also occupationally. So, Riley, why don't you give us a little rundown of what's been going on in your life, man?
Wow. Well, it's not going to be as interesting as your rundown, but March, April, turned 21.
Lit.
Yep.
I was there at the party.
Yeah, you were. Partied, then took exams in May is when we take exams. Then I went to South Africa for a couple weeks through the business school here and like a little study abroad program. It's just 15 days. That was really cool. Cape Town, Johannesburg. And then I flew all the way back. It's like 20 hours in the air. It took a couple of days, and then takes a couple of days, and it's 6-hour time difference in South Africa. Landed in Raleigh on Memorial Day. And then the next day, went to work at 8 a.m. And that was terrible. But South Africa is really cool. And we'll talk a little more about that. Adam, why don't you tell us what has happened in the past?
Oh, you forgot.
Months?
In March was spring break. Didn't you go somewhere?
Oh,
for spring break?
yeah. I guess, yeah. So spring break, I went to Mexico. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of alcohol consumption. And
Alcohol consumption in an irresponsible manner is not condoned by Sports and Stuff podcast.
absolutely not condoned. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, it's been a good few months, but Adam has a little more interesting stuff to share with us.
More interesting is in the eyes or in the ears of the listener. Let's see. March, went to spring break. Went on a cruise with my buddies. We went to Mexico and somewhere in the Bahamas that I don't remember because there was a memory loss potion there that I consumed a lot of.
Not condoned.
Yeah, got literally belligerent for about a week straight. Got off the boat in Orlando, got onto a plane to Nevada, flew to Las Vegas, and then started drinking again. It was sick. I'd like to say that in general, my life is pretty boring. I don't do much, but that week made me feel like James Bond, being, drunk on a boat and then waking up and getting on a plane and then getting, staying up like 36 hours just drinking all day. Some might call that alcoholism.
So why was James Bond the comparison there?
Because he has a cool life. He has a much cooler life than I do.
But is he just drinking for 36 hours straight?
Is that not what the movies were about?
Oh yeah, the last one, James Bond, defeating alcoholism.
You only have to stop drinking if it's a problem for you, and I have zero problems with it. So then April came. I turned 22. Me and Riley have very close together birthdays.
Yup.
I think Riley partied with me on my 22nd birthday. I don't remember, though. Once again, there was a memory loss potion involved. May was exams. Oh, and I got hired at my first job. I don't remember when that happened, but I'll be working in Durham at Enterprise Rent-A-Car as a management trainee starting next month. So that'll be fun. Please don't show them this this podcast because they don't know about my insane alcohol consumption. That has slowed down tremendously. I'll put it out there. It's slowed down tremendously. I've had 2 beers this week, so it's easy going. Taking it easy because my liver needs to recover from senior year. Other interesting news. Last Saturday, a few days ago, June 1st, I got engaged to my girlfriend Layla, now fiance Layla, which is weird saying. She's been on the show. We've talked about kind of our past. For those of you that are wondering how it happened, or let's see. What were the questions, Riley? It was ring, wedding date, and how it happened. Isn't that how it goes?
Yep.
So the ring, I got it from a family friend who runs a jewelry store. It's Barnes Jewelers in Goldsboro, North Carolina. Check them out. They helped me out, gave me a great price. Not going to talk about it here, though.
Shout out Barnes.
Shout out to Barnes Jewelers. How it happened, her best friend, or one of her best friends, Bryce, is going to move to Minnesota at the end of the month. And they like to do photo shoots of each other. They've taken pictures of each other before, so I got Bryce to reach out to Layla and say, hey, let's take pictures of each other, or let's have a photo shoot before I move. And Layla was very into that idea, and so I also got Bryce to mention that I should come along to take pictures of them two, since they don't usually take pictures of each other, but since Bryce is about to leave, it would be nice to have a photographer there to help. And I'm cheap, basically free, 100% free.
Oh.
So we met at the Crabtree Valley Mall and had some lunch at P.F. Chang's. Shout out P.F. Chang's. By the way, P.F. Chang's is my favorite chain restaurant. What's your favorite chain restaurant?
Wow. Not having one that's just like, I don't have a super strong opinion, I guess, on a particular chain restaurant. I like sub places a lot. So,
Jimmy John's?
No.
What's your favorite sub place? Subway?
Jimmy John's would be very close to the bottom of my favorite sub place.
Ouch.
Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's is good.
Firehouse for a hot sub. I don't
think I've ever been to Firehouse.
Jersey Mike's for a cold sub. Firehouse for a hot sub. Hot take.
See, I would say Jersey Mike's for a hot sub. Jimmy John's for a cold sub.
Oh, God, dude. Jimmy John's.
It's good, and their chips are good. Anyway. So we went to P.F. Chang's, and then they had talked about going to an arboretum to take some photos among the flowers, which was also my idea. So we did that, and I was taking some pictures of them, and we were like, Layla, what's your favorite spot? So Layla went to her favorite spot that we saw at the arboretum, and Bryce was like, why don't you guys take some pictures together? So she and I were like posing, blah, blah, blah. And then I had a very subtle signal with Bryce as to when to start recording on her phone. And she did when I gave said signal. And then
oh, really? I mean, how it works?
Yeah, she got it. She did this. I gave the signal. She picked up on the signal. She acted on the signal. And then I proposed. And then we went back to Kinston, our hometown, and had a party with our close friends and family that Riley was not at.
I was invited, though, but I couldn't go because my stupid brother had to have his engagement party on the same day, even though they had already been engaged for 6 months.
Yeah, so for some reason Riley didn't come to mind, and I'm personally very offended. Layla wanted everyone to go home because she couldn't stand the thought of having the party without Riley there. And I said, Layla, we got to keep on a brave face because Riley would want us to carry on, even though he obviously doesn't want us in his life anymore. So yeah, that's how it happened. It was really sweet. There's a video on her Instagram if you want to check it out. Her at name is, I think it's Layla_Brinkley, or just go to mine and find her. As for the wedding, I really don't know. We're taking a little bit of time to enjoy the engagement before we start planning the wedding. So yeah, that's the most exciting thing that's happened.
And every listener is invited to the wedding.
Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. All five of you, come on ahead. I bet we have a space. And I just got back. Well, Riley was in South Africa. I was in Italy. That was a graduation gift from my aunt and uncle.
Yeah, and also I was in Italy.
And less exciting news, I spent 8 days in Italy. No, just kidding. It was gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. Would go back tomorrow. And yeah, I think 2 days from now I'm leaving to go to Las Vegas again. for my buddy Tyson's bachelor party. A lot of wedding stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
So,
Well, why don't you tell us? While we're on the timeline stuff, tell about the rest of your summer. What's you're working? You're going to Las Vegas.
Yeah, I start work this month. I will be going to Las Vegas, and then I've almost closed on a new apartment in Durham, in downtown Durham. Me and Layla are we're moving in together, and we're gonna be trying to figure that out and everything. And so, that's kind of what's going on. What about you?
Yeah, working as well all summer, but also gonna be spending some money this summer and going some cool places. Going to Nashville at the end of June. Actually going to. Oh wait, I can't say it where I'm. So I'm surprising Rachel. I almost just said that. That would have been bad. Surprising Rachel on the 21st, which is her birthday. Rachel, my girlfriend, if you don't remember. She's finally turning 21.
Yeah.
It only took
Wait, her birthday is June 21st?
Yeah.
That's my sister's birthday.
No way.
Yeah, that's
longest day of the year. No wonder.
Yeah. No wonder. My sister's turning 28.
Ah, good.
Sorry, not as important as 21.
No. Yeah. Well, no. 28 is a good birthday. That's like a touchdown away from 21. So. Sports and stuff. So we're going at a place I will disclose later on the 21st, and then the 28th, the next week, and we're going to Nashville, and then we're going to California in July.
My goodness.
And outside of Pittsburgh, mountains in Pennsylvania at the beginning of August. So we are having a summer.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really fun summer.
Yeah, I'm excited. My bank account has been preparing, and we're getting ready for
the dismantling of
yeah.
the bank account.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's gonna be a great summer, and Adam's gonna be in the area, and should be able to get a few podcasts going this summer.
Yeah, we're trying to start it back up, guys. Obviously, the end of all things that are fun in sports is coming. Doomsday for entertaining sports is coming. But we're going to try to create some content, and we're going to try to get out and do some stuff. My new place I'm excited about it. It's going to have some good scenery. I have some ideas going for maybe some video podcasts. That's news to Riley too. I'm not promising anything because I promised that we would keep it going, and we had a 3-month break. This is a hobby first. And we're going to see what kind of time I have with my full-time job that is like 50 hours a week.
It's 50?
It's 50 hours a week, yeah. But I'm cool with that. I've worked like 80-hour weeks before with ease.
I currently work definitely over 40 hours a week.
Yeah, so we're chasing paper out here. We're chasing paper. So yeah, we're chasing paper out here. 50 hours a week is nothing to me. It's nothing to me. But yeah, we're gonna try to keep bringing some content. So let's just do a brief. Guys, we're sports first. Sports comes before stuff always. In this podcast, and the title and the Twitter name, but your hosts have been slacking.
Yeah. So on the sports front, when we left off in March, we actually missed an entire month of a pretty big sport event called March Madness. But obviously we watched that. We both loved that. I think we're speaking for. I mean, I love.
Oh
March
yeah.
Madness. Yeah.
I mean, Carolina was in it, so I was watching.
Yeah.
I think I watched the championship.
I kind of fell off after Carolina stopped, but
Who won?
Virginia.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that was kind of cool. They played Auburn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Auburn beat us, motherfuckers. But good for them.
Good. Yeah. We're not bitter. It's cool.
Yeah, we'll whoop their ass in baseball.
Obviously, it's fine.
Yeah, it's not like we're mad. Not like I'm taking this a baseball game on the weekend against Auburn, personally or anything. Not a revenge tour or anything like that. Like I didn't like a tweet yesterday, just completely bashing Auburn, saying that we're gonna beat them in baseball, but I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Speaking of Auburn, how would you like to be the second best team at everything in your state? Like, they're basically like NC State
Yeah. Oh,
to
right,
Alabama.
I forgot.
Like they already
Those-
live. They already live in Alabama, and then they're not even the best one.
Yeah.
Roll Tide, but Roll Tide.
Do we have any Alabama listeners?
Yeah, I don't know. We have in the past, but
Uh-oh.
yeah, we're rebuilding. It's rebuilding season. But if you're from Alabama and you like Auburn, I'm not afraid to pander. Just tweet me. I'll let you know. War Eagle, if you are.
Yeah.
You guys had a great game against us. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, just fucking made every single shot ever.
Yeah, and we were a little depleted, but
Yeah.
once again, it's fine.
No,
It's fine.
our best player
over
might
it.
have had the flu, but
Yeah,
you know,
I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it.
I'm glad it's not flu season anymore in baseball. Okay.
I'm just over it.
Yeah. That happened. Then hockey and basketball
The playoffs.
are going on.
Yeah, and the Hurricanes made quite the run.
Yes, that was actually really cool. They
I watched a lot of hockey.
swept the Islanders, who
Yeah,
swept the Penguins.
Yeah, they went 7 games with the Capitals.
Yeah.
Then they
And
went-
overtime in that game 7, right?
Yep. Then
Yeah.
they swept the Islanders,
Double overtime, I think.
and then they lost to the Bruins. But it was a good run. It was a good run for the old Raleigh Hurricanes. Good
Yeah,
job
because
for
they've
them.
sucked for years.
Best thing that Raleigh Sports has going on for them.
At Rachel Jones. Then, but now it's basketball and it's hockey, and I'm not. Speak on myself. I used to be way more into hockey than I am now, so I'm not really paying attention to the Stanley Cup as much as
I think it's tied.
Yeah, it's 2-2.
2-2. Blues Bruins.
Yeah. Basketball, I watched really closely the Sixers run, and then watched closely and depressingly on the plane on my way to South Africa as Kawhi Leonard got that lucky ass roll and we lost in 7. And watch that team. Then watch the Raptors go and beat the Bucks that I felt like we could have beat them. And now even got a game on the Warriors, and we were one shot away from beating this Raptors team that has beaten the Bucks and gotten a game on the Warriors. So, not saying the Sixers would have done the same, but it's just the what if scenarios are going through my head. But that was fun. But after that, I'd say I didn't watch. I mean, I was in South Africa, so the games were at 2 a.m. So I didn't watch anything when I was there, and I didn't even watch Game 1 or much of Game 2 in the finals. So kind of slacking.
Yeah, I think I watched a lot of Game 1. Honestly, yeah, I did. I watched Game 1. I was flipping between that and the spelling bee because I'm really into that.
What?
I watched
Give me some.
I watched the script spelling bee, man.
The what spelling bee?
The scripts, the big Arundel that one.
Yeah.
It was a historic year in the spelling bee.
Oh,
There was
yeah? What happened?
There was 8 co-champions. So the way they do it,
Stupid.
they do 20 rounds, right?
Yeah.
They do 20 rounds. Most of the time, there's one champion. A few times there's been 2. There's never been 3 or more. This year there were 8.
Wow.
It's insane. They're thinking about flipping the whole thing on its head, redoing the rules because kids are getting too good at it.
Shit.
I mean,
Damn it, dude. What the hell has spelling bees come to?
dude! Everything
I grew up.
everything is hyper competitive. It's insane though. 8 kids lasted 20 rounds.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The way they approached the words were honest. It was really impressive for me.
Yeah.
To me, what they were doing, and I don't know how many of you are spelling bee fans, but they were going out
Probably
there.
0.
They were asking for the language of origin, and most of them, it's not like this is Greek, has been Greek, will always be Greek. It'll be like had a Greek origin with German influence, blah blah blah, and from that they would know like a lot of the word. Even if they didn't, that's how they would figure out the words. Is because Greek often has like the O or the EOE, like those 3 went with like a sound.
Oh, yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
And like the Germans, rather than using like the CH for the K sound, they use like a K.
Yeah.
Often. So
Okay.
like they would use like Germanic, Greek, French, all these roots, and like know the bases of the language to construct words, even if they didn't.
Wow.
It was impressive. It was
Very impressive.
the first winner from Alabama ever was this year. Shout out to Alabama.
There we go.
War
Alabama.
Eagle, Roll Tide.
They're on the rise.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
That girl's. Never mind. I'm not going to speak poorly of a preteen.
Yeah. Let's not do that. Maybe off the air.
Yeah. All right, so we're caught up on sports. We talked about everything big. Spelling bee.
We're caught up on sports. we talked about Virginia won the March Madness, and then we talked about like hockey and basketball. Yeah. Well, I mean, and baseball. Baseball started.
Dude, you know what?
And college baseball.
You know what? I have talked a heaping load of shit about baseball on this podcast, and I'm not done. I'm not done doing it, but I have to say I would be being dishonest if I didn't say that I have watched more college baseball this year than I ever have. I've watched more college baseball than I have the NBA Finals. Or the NBA playoffs, or the hockey playoffs. I've watched more college baseball than I've watched anything besides college basketball and college football this year.
Wow, I can't say the same, but
Yeah, I'm keeping up with the Diamond Heels, baby. Super regional host, about to kick Auburn's ass.
That actually is really cool that we're hosting the Super Regional again. It'll be even cooler if we actually win this year.
We won the Super
Oh,
Regional
no, we
last
won
year.
last
We went
year.
to
We
Omaha
lost-
and then
we
got
lost to
freaking
OK
whacked by.
State,
No,
right?
we lost to Mississippi State.
Mississippi
We beat Oklahoma State. I think they were defending national champions.
We beat them in the
Beat
Super
them.
Regional.
Yeah, then
Okay.
went to Omaha, lost to Mississippi State, who lost to Oregon State, who won the whole thing. But Oregon State's out. Suck it, Beavers.
Beavers.
Oh, breaking news. Brought to you here first. Vince Carter is going to retire after next season. One more season. One last ride for Vince Carter.
Oh, we got a retirement tour starting.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Vince is the man, though, for
Yeah.
sure.
Might be my favorite. Genuinely might be my favorite Tar Heel ever.
Yeah. I mean, unless you
It's certainly not Michael Jordan. Bum ass.
Oh, Big Mike. Should we talk about, like, where KD's going, like that kind of, like, off-season stuff? Do you want to cover that quickly? Any theories? Oh, Magic Johnson. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, yeah, he's out.
Yeah.
Dude, LeBron might be out.
What?
He said yesterday that if the Lakers didn't get their shit together, he might demand a trade.
Philly.
Dude, I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay. The only reason I don't want him to go to the East because I know people be like, oh, LeBron couldn't handle the West.
Yeah, fuck people. Like, just come to Philly. We'll wreck everybody.
So here's my theory. What's stopping Kyrie and KD and LeBron from joining forces in Charlotte? What's stopping you?
Nicholas Batum.
He's done, man. Well, kick his ass out. No, I'm not going to threaten Nicholas Batum on here either.
Michael Jordan. Their entire front office.
The city of Charlotte.
The city of Charlotte.
The state of North Carolina.
The state of North Carolina. The fan base. Yeah. Not you, but like the lack thereof of a strong fan base in Charlotte.
Yeah.
They're not really packing out seats.
By the way, Kemba, man, if you ever hear this, I hope you do you, man. You've done enough. I think the Hornets should offer him a supermax, and then say, you can choose to go, but we'll pay you, because he's earned it. I don't give a shit if it's like one of those John Wall situations. If anyone has earned that money, it is Kemba Walker, and he deserves to get paid. I've said it. I hope Michael Jordan hears it. I hope Kemba hears it.
Did you see the Sixers offer Jimmy the max?
He deserves it too.
Yeah, he carried us in the playoffs. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you didn't really watch.
He's a leader too. He's a veteran leader that the Sixers need.
Yeah, and I said it from the start. Jimmy Butler is actually a good teammate
Yep.
because he
Did you see
challenges
Derrick
younger
Rose's
players.
quote on Karl Anthony Towns?
I did not.
He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, it's nothing against Karl Anthony Towns. He's a good player, but
I've heard his work ethic isn't very high.
but he said it's a problem with the league, and that we get these guys who haven't done anything and we spoil them, and like I think he's kind of saying that it was And that was an answer to a question about the Jimmy Butler trade. So
Yeah, I. That's what I said. I thought, I really felt it was that Jimmy Butler's locker room troubles were genuine frustration with the lack of wanting to win in the locker room, like the lack of working hard
let's
to
not
try to
forget
win.
that Andrew Wiggins was supposed to be the next LeBron.
Yeah, and no one on that team besides Jimmy Butler even tries to play defense. I know the NBA doesn't play defense, but like they
Some people do.
really don't play defense.
It's like they're tanking.
But all right, anything else? I mean, Magic Johnson leaving is crazy. Lakers organization,
Lakers are a dumpster fire.
the whole. I can't even think of the guy's name.
Jeannie Buss or Rob Pelinka.
Well, yeah, but their front office, but the whole situation with Ty Lue,
Yeah.
that was terrible, terribly handled. I mean,
Hey, by the way, Lakers, I'm hired, but I'm not that hired. So if you're looking for someone to run it, I got you.
yeah, I heard you got an opening.
I'm an innovator.
I have a podcast.
My one flaw is that I'm a perfectionist, and also I work too hard.
All right, Michael Scott. Okay, well, anything else in sports that we should cover? Or should we talk a little bit about our
Oh, Tiger won the Masters. That was cool.
Oh, that was awesome. That was so
I
cool.
hope he's back.
He got pretty close to the Memorial Tournament on this past weekend.
Yeah, Tiger's cool. I'm playing golf next week. I'll probably play about as well as Tiger does.
Yeah, I mean, at least.
At least. I'm probably gonna shoot like a 40.
Yeah.
I think.
Damn, you're gonna shoot that bad? Wow, you fucking suck.
I mean, maybe like a 39 or so. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I usually don't crack. I don't even get into the 20s usually.
Oh, that's pretty good. You shoot about an 18, 17 actually.
Average out at 18. Every once in a while, get a 10. Just they don't. They just. I go up to the hole and just like before I even tee off, it's in the hole already. So.
Yeah, I don't even swing. It just kind of goes.
Yeah. So it's not a stroke. It's just already there.
Right. You just look it in.
Yeah, I just look at the ball and it's like, oh shit, I better go ahead and get in that hole.
Scare it.
Yeah.
Scare the ball so bad. Okay. So Riley, you in South Africa. Why don't you tell me about it?
Okay. We'll do quick summary of what the structure was. So yours was like more free. I would assume you were there on purely pleasure. I was there for study abroad, so we had pretty much from 8 to 4 or 5 every single day. We were kind of doing program things. We went to 2 different cities. Johannesburg was first. Cape Town was second. Johannesburg is just kind of like any other, at least in some parts, or where we stayed was actually the richest square mile in South Africa. There's like an Aston Martin dealership there, like billionaires lived all around there, like mad money in that area. So it looked just like any kind of U.S. metropolitan city set up, tall, modern-looking buildings, nice hotels, nice mall, that kind of stuff. But if you drove, South Africa actually has the biggest equity gap in the world. So if you drove 5 minutes down the road from this richest square mile Aston Martin billionaires, you would end up at a place with just shacks, no electricity, 70 families, not people, 70 families sharing one toilet. Just like huge difference. And that was crazy to see because we went to all the corporations there. We were basically studying their emerging market. So they're a different market where the developed U.S. market, they're emerging. Very different kind of opportunities there. And this huge equity gap was also very interesting. But anyway, so we studied businesses there. Like inside these townships, there were people that would sell like convenience stores basically. But it was a very weird or different concept because they have no electricity. So they'd somehow save up enough money for like a solar panel to get electricity in there, and then they would pay, like they had a partnership with Coca-Cola, like they were doing really well, but they would sell like one egg, like the quantities were ridiculous. People would go up there, buy one egg, one piece of bread, and like no one has money there, but those businesses do really well because it's just like a massive amount of people just shoved into this one area. So it's just the volume of transactions. That was super cool. Cape Town was beautiful. It was more scenic than Johannesburg. It was a little less on the serious side of visiting businesses. A lot of wineries. The whole time going on, there was a lot of drinking by me after the program stuff. I went. We had one free day, and this is what I did. I woke up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. Hiked up the Table Mountain, which is one of the 7 wonders of nature. Watched sunrise there with a group of people, and then after that, we went down the mountain. We went paragliding, jumped off a cliff, went paragliding over a city, jumped off a cliff, went over a city, and landed on the beach. That was super cool. And then went to a rugby game, which I've never been to. And
Was it the Springboks?
Springboks? No, it wasn't Springboks. It was like England versus. Maybe it was. Honestly, I don't really know. I was super confused the whole time. But it was super cool. Those guys are monsters. And then where we went. What did we do that night? Oh, I took a hard nap after all that because I'd been up 5 a.m. And then we went to dinner that night, and then the next day went on like a boat ride and then flew out. So that we had a little bit of free time during those days. So super cool, beautiful, but also learned a lot, which was surprising because I didn't really think I didn't go there like, hey, I want to learn a lot of stuff. I went there like, hey, South Africa's super cool.
Gotta love that attitude about a school trip, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, who needs to learn?
Yeah. And learned a lot about like just how different their business model is. Really crazy. You could start a business there and have like 5 employees and just impact so many more people in your community just by hiring them for like an employee. It's just totally different concept. Super cool. Would definitely go back, just like Adam said, if I had a choice. Cape Town greater than Johannesburg, but both great. I'll tell I guess I'll try to find a good story to tell later, but Adam, why don't you give us your Italy experience?
So my experience with Italy was, like I said, it was a graduation present for my aunt and uncle. My uncle and I flew up together, and my aunt was coming up later. We spent the first 2 days in Rome, which my uncle was not excited about. He said that he didn't really like Rome, but by the end of the trip, he had changed his mind. The cool thing about Rome is how old it is and how things have kind of been retrofit to like deal with its population. So obviously there's like ancient Rome with the Colosseum and the ancient Roman Forum and all that. And that's kind of like preserved and it's kind of all historical. There's no businesses or anything going on besides like tours. And then around that is where, kind of like the center of the town is. And even though it's a massive city and I think it's the biggest city in Italy, there's no real like modern skyscrapers. Everything is like kind of colored plaster walls and stuff like that, with the classic brown shingles that kind of personify Italy. So it was cool. The only thing that was negative about Rome was that it was kind of dirty, sort of like New York is dirty, where there's graffiti everywhere and there's like beer bottles and stuff on the ground. But the people were pretty nice. The traffic wasn't all that bad. The food was excellent. When we found where the locals are, my uncle is a retired chef, and he had an Italian restaurant, so he's been to Italy. I should have mentioned that my aunt and uncle have been to Italy over 15 times, so they were the best tour guides that I could possibly have.
Jesus, 15 times.
Yeah. Well, he would go all the time for business, so he would because he had wine distributors, and he was going to meet with other chefs. So he had to go for business a lot, but they also go for pleasure all the time. They love it there. So we went to Rome for 2 days. That was super cool. I'm a real history nerd. I had a minor in history, so I got to do a lot of the ancient Roman tours, which was awesome for me. Gave my brain some stimulation, which was nice. Ate in some random neighborhoods that is like traditional Roman food, where you're gonna find some of the best food. That was really cool. And then we went and picked my aunt up on that Wednesday. We'd spent 2 days there, so Wednesday we went and got her, and we had a house in a small mountain town called Camaiore. I tried to practice my Italian a lot over there, but I'm still not very good at it. So we spent the rest of the week basically in Tuscany. And for those of you who don't know, because I learned this, Italy has regions like the United States has states. And so Tuscany, I always thought was a town or a city, but it's actually a region. It's like a state of Italy. And in that, there's a bunch of smaller cities like Florence and Siena are in Tuscany. So that was news to me. But so basically what we did for the next 5 days was every day we would go and like eat lunch in a city, and then we would, hang out, and then we'd go find a different city to eat dinner in. Yeah. So we were just kind of doing like a food tour, but we were going all around Tuscany. So we went to Florence, Siena, Lucca, San Gimignano, Pisa, all these random places. And it was really cool seeing how different all of them were, because you have to remember that all these places were towns when the Roman Empire basically ruled the world. So you can see like heavy Roman influences on everything, but also each town, since they're all so old, have their own like personality. And some of the smaller towns were medieval, especially San Gimignano, which is sort of a big city, but it's not massive like Siena or Florence. It's not well known. And like the streets there are obviously medieval. You have like cobblestone streets, cobblestone buildings, castles. I mean, it was really cool. I've never been to Europe, so like being in the old world, any part of the old world is awesome, because you just think about how many people have walked these streets over a millennia.
Yeah, I had a 13-hour layover in London on my way to South Africa. We went into London, and we went to the oldest pub in Europe. And
oh yeah, I wanted you to tell me about that.
That was super cool. It was just like you were saying. It was just crazy to walk through there and just know that like 1,300 people were just like walking around this place.
Right.
All the doorways were like super short, because like everyone was much shorter back then.
Right. Yeah.
Is what they told us.
Yeah.
So you had to like really duck to like get anywhere, and there's like a mind your head on every little like doorway. And and like we went down to the bottom floor, which is like almost like it was basically like in the ground, and it was really cool and old, and I don't know, it was cool to like sit there and drink a beer and just know that, hey, people like my one friend there was like, dude, probably someone has died here. Like, they probably got in a bar fight and just killed each other.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Multiple people have died there.
Yeah, exactly.
Multiple people have died there, no doubt.
Yeah, so that was super cool.
Yeah. I think my favorite part of Italy, honestly, was obviously, the food can be undersold. The wine genuinely cannot be undersold how good it was, especially when you would go to a place and they made the wine there and they have their own cellar and everything. It's freaking insane how good it is. So the coolest part to me was being in the countryside of Italy, where they would have like highways that would lead everywhere, sort of like the United States, but there's not a lot of side roads going anywhere. So you would be sitting there and you'd be on the highway and you'd look to your right, to the north, south, east, west. Everywhere was just rolling hills. And it was like, as far as I could see, you would see like scattered maybe one or two houses on a hill or something like that. But it was genuinely just green, rolling hills forever. And we stopped we got lost and stopped in this little rinky-dink town that was literally carved into the side of a mountain with the medieval like structures and everything.
That's so cool.
And we were almost all alone in this city because the town was basically asleep. I have no idea what was going on there, but there was no one out and about. And they had this ledge that overlooked like this cliff. And so I was sitting on the ledge and just looking out, and there was birds chirping and everything, and it was just hills on hills on hills.
Yeah.
And it's like a religious experience for me. It was so cool to be there. And I had a great time and probably gained like 80 pounds.
That kind of sitting on the edge of the cliff. I did that when I went up the Table Mountain. You guys should Google the view there. It's incredible. Lion's Head was pretty cool too. There's two famous mountains. It's a wonder of the world because or not wonder of the world. It's a wonder of nature. Sorry, because it's like this huge mountain right next to a city, which is like super rare. So one side you can see like the city, the other side you see like nature. So it's pretty cool. But I have a couple stories that I thought of while you were going. They're all probably pretty funny. So one's just like a cool thing. We saw Emma Stone.
Oh wow!
Twice while we were in South Africa.
Small world. Huh?
We went to a speakeasy gym bar, and Emma Stone was there. Or she was walking out when we came in. That was super cool. The guy serving us the gym was like, yeah, I just served Emma Stone. He was like, he was pretty excited about it. And then we went to a museum, and she was there too. So she was wow. All around South Africa. So that was cool. Then what was really cool is we got to interact with the South African business students there at a local business school in Johannesburg. And we just got basically an hour or two to talk to them. And it was so cool just to like compare their views on things and our views on things, and like how they perceive Americans, and obviously how Americans perceive Africans, which for the most part is completely wrong. But the funniest thing though was, I don't know if I should say this or not. I mean, I'm 21 now, so I guess I can. I had a certain identification that allowed me to go to bars before I was 21. And when I told them about this concept that like very common among our age group, and then showed them my fake ID, they freaked out. They were like, "Oh my God!" They're like, "What?" They were like, "I thought this was just in the movies." Like a lot of their American culture comes from like what they see in the movies.
I thought you were McLovin.
And they passed it around and like just couldn't get over that we like all pretty much had fake IDs, and that was a thing, because like for them, like if you want to go, and like that's not a big deal, like you can get in, and you don't need a fake ID, and their drinking age is 18, and so and I told them about what ALE, which is just basically a law enforcement dedicated to busting underage people for alcohol, and they thought that was the biggest bullshit. They're like, they're in their like little British, South African accents. I can't do it, but they were like, "How do you even live, mate?" or something.
That was good. Just spot on. I've never talked to a South African person, but I'm certain that's exactly what they sound like.
They just sound like British. Pretty much, they have like some of them, they all know like multiple languages. There's 11 national languages in South Africa, so all of them knew like pretty much at least 2, if not 3 languages. They're like, "How many languages do you know?" And I was like, "Well, I know 1, English, American, and then there was one more story I wanted to tell. Emma Stone, the fake." All right, you tell something while I think.
Okay. So I had a very, very, very interesting dining experience in Italy. It's not one that I would call good, but it is one that I would call memorable. So for those of you who don't know, I have a gluten allergy, and so like honestly, no. It sounds funny because like going to Italy, you have a gluten allergy, like, oh man, you're so screwed. But they were more accommodating there than they are here, genuinely. And I think my theory is that so much of their diet is gluten based that if someone there who's native born can't eat it, they're kind of boned for life.
It's kind of the opposite it was kind of the opposite in South Africa. There were people with gluten allergies, and they had a lot of trouble finding offerings of gluten-free
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, you basically just have to end up getting like something grilled.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it is here sometimes. Anywho, so I get this gluten-free pizza. We're going to get this pizza from this place, and I'd already had a gluten-free pizza in Italy, and it was very good. This place was not as good. The quality, I'll just go ahead and speak to the quality. It was like instead of like making a pizza, they like cut up the crust, cooked it, and then served it with like. So I ordered it with salami and Parmesan cheese, or mozzarella cheese. And they just had like the crust sitting next to blocks of Parmesan cheese and cold salami, which was weird. Yeah, I was making it lunchable essentially. But that's not even the noteworthy part of this place. So, we walk into this restaurant, and it's nothing new. It's obviously a very small family-owned restaurant, and we sit down, and the guy speaks zero English, but my aunt is almost fluent in Italian, so it was really not that big of a problem. And we were talking back and forth, and I see my uncle's eyes like wandering around the walls, and it's covered in stuff, kind of like at East Coast Wings, or Buffalo Wild Wings, where it just has sports memorabilia everywhere. But it wasn't sports memorabilia, and I hadn't really looked around. So I look around, and it's just army stuff. It's army stuff. Like there's guns on the wall. It's not that weird yet. And then my uncle says, "Man, some of this stuff is kind of rough." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like pointing out stuff, and then it hit me like every photo there was always a man in it, and that man was Mussolini. It was insane, dude. This place worshipped Mussolini. They had him doing the fascist salute.
Oh
they
my
had
God.
his quotes. They had swastikas on the wall.
What the fuck?
Like they had everything. And mind you, my uncle is Jewish. So we're sitting there, and I was like me personally, coming from my liberal arts education, I was offended, and I don't get super offended. And I was like, I wanted to leave. I didn't say anything because I was gonna see how my uncle reacted.
Yeah.
And eventually, he just kind of changed his attitude and thought it was funny, and I was appreciative of that. So he decided that we should stay. Like I was like, do you want to go? And he was like, no, we'll stay, whatever. But the whole experience was so insane. Like my Uncle Hank was kind of uptight, like, and he was like, this thing needs some salt, but I'm scared to ask. And so this guy was like worshiping Mussolini, and he was so loud and spoke so quickly, and he was like very hands-on, so he's like touching us and stuff like that. And at the end, they had this fake skull, and we were like leaving, right? We had paid and everything. And also notable, we got the real tourist treatment there because rather than how most places with a ticket, even like mom and pop places, if they give you a ticket, they'll have it itemized and written out, and they'll have your total at the bottom. They just handed us a blank piece of paper with a total on it, and it was like an astronomical price.
Oh my God.
So we paid it. It was like whatever. And then they had a skull, and he picked up the skull, and he said "comunista," like saying that it was a communist. And then he was basically saying like he killed the communists. I was like, it's like, oh my fucking God. And we walked out, and we didn't even notice it, but on the sign, the guy on the sign had like an army hat on and stuff, and we were like, we did not pick up the signs at all.
Y'all just walked right into this.
Yeah, we just walked in, and it was so funny. My uncle said, I want to ask for salt, but I'm scared they're going to kill me.
Yeah.
And I said, you're probably good on the salt, but for the love of God, please don't start plotzing. Like he is so Jewish. Like you look at him and you're like, he's Jewish. But they never said anything offensive, but I don't think you really have to say anything. When like one of the pictures on the wall was the owner dressed up like Hitler.
Oh
like he had the stash and like the Nazi thing. It was tough. It was so tough.
That is crazy. Though.
It was crazy. It was crazy and there was other people in the restaurant. Like, how has he not gone out of business yet?
Yeah.
Like that would not fly here at all.
Hell no, man.
And this was, I mean, granted, this was a small town, but even if, like, I guess the equivalent here would be like being racist to black people. Like, could you imagine, like, if there was a restaurant dedicated to like the Jim Crow era that had like Klan hats like hanging on the walls?
Yeah,
No matter where it was, it could be bumfuck Mississippi, like an hour from civilization, and it's still one person would wander in there and get that place shut down. But
rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully so. Rightfully so. It was crazy to me that happened, but it's gonna be the most memorable thing. I took a picture with the guy.
Oh my God.
I took a picture with the guy, and there's obvious like pictures. There's like Nazi memorabilia in the background.
Oh my goodness. You gotta show me that after.
Yeah, I will.
I thought of my story. Not as interesting as that. Pretty funny though. We were also at a restaurant, and it just made me think of it's awkward interaction. I wasn't involved, but I observed the awkward interaction. I'll give a shout out to Colton Sobert, I think is how you say his last name.
It's pronounced sorbet.
No, it's not. He's just a guy that I don't know. He's hilarious, but I don't know if he's super. I'll just tell a story. But he's hilarious, really great guy. Don't like think bad of him because of this story. But and Colton, if you ever hear this, sorry I had to share this to our 10 listeners. But
That's generous.
You say, "Damn, that's generous."
Yeah.
So we were eating, and we were talking to our waiter, and he was like super friendly guy, and he was talking to us, and Colton likes talking to people, and he was like, "Yeah, man," he's like, "So where are you from?" You know, because a lot of people in Cape Town, we were in Cape Town, are not from Cape Town, and he was like, I'm originally from, I think he said Kenya. I was like, originally from Kenya. Now I'm here, and blah blah blah. And then Colton goes, "Oh, so what brought you down here? What brought you down to Cape Town?" And he goes, the dude just looks at him like, smile just gone, and just goes, "The war." and no, it's not. And Colton goes, "Oh, word." and then it goes, and I was like, "Oh God, please don't say anything else." But Cole goes, "So, you like escaped and shit?"
Oh, nice. Super understanding.
Yeah. And the guy goes, yeah, and
I escaped and shit.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, you gotta meet Colton. Like that's what I'm saying. But like, he was just caught in an awkward situation to not come up with the right words.
We've all been there.
Not come up with the right words.
Not exactly there, but we've been in it.
Yeah. Dude said the war, and yeah. So that was a good little application of an awkward interaction, even in South Africa. So
it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Probably more so.
More so when you're in an area like that. Yeah. Another awkward interaction. We one day, so like I don't like the stigma that like, and don't want to offend anybody who's maybe gone to Africa on like a mission, like travel or like not, or just gone there to kind of like help, the poor African kids. I just don't really like the like stigma of like, hey, we have to help them, like we can go there and fix their problems type of ideas that is kind of common. But anyways, one day we kind of did something like that, and we had to like go help these kids with, or they were a little younger than us, that had like they were entrepreneurs and they had their own businesses, but really they weren't like, they were not really registered businesses or anything like that. Like they were tiny and like really getting off the ground, and like we were supposed to be like this smart like Americans that help them with their business model. And my one buddy there was, you could pick the business you worked in. For some reason, he decided to pick the agriculture one, and and he went over there, started talking to the guy, and the dude just gave him a bucket and like some clothes, and so he just started washing some clothes and then like shoveling some stuff, and then a dog came up, and they're like pet the dog, and he pet the dog, and then he looked at his hand and it was covered in fleas, and his leg was like, the dog like rushed up against his leg, and fleas were all on his he had pants on, so on his pants, and then we were sitting in a circle, kind of like reassessing after everything, and this like pretty large lizard just started crawling out of his pant leg, and he was like trying to keep calm and like not like look like some like uncultured American, but he was like, he's like, all right, someone get this lizard off me, and it kept like coming back, like we got it off, and then it would like run back and jump up back onto his leg, and that was kind of like an awkward interaction of like not trying to be rude type of like thing, but also like, hey, I got fleas and lizards on me, like not, so I thought that is pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
And yeah, I don't have any other specific stories, Adam.
Yeah, man. No, I'm kind of tapped. Maybe some will come to me at a later date. But I think that's a pretty good episode. Episode 12 will be up pretty shortly. And yeah, we're gonna try to keep pumping out episodes. Well, maybe we'll get one out next week, Thursday or Friday. And we'll see.
Yeah. And Adam and I are gonna go get some dinner now, get some beers, celebrate the joining of two wonderful people.
Two houses.
Yes.
Game of Thrones is over now.
Yes, the Brinkleys and the Williams. Incest.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that is relevant. We're really dancing on Alabama today, I guess.
Now we are.
Yeah, now we are.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys.
You got hags. Have a good summer.
Yep. Well, I mean, we'll talk to you before the end of the summer.
Hags, though.
Hags.
Have a good summer.
Oh, hags. Have a good summer.
Hags, guys.
Hag.